Something special goes on in these last couple of problems that we have for this section, so I definitely want to talk about them. With this last problem that we didn't get to last time, what do we need to do first? Yeah, we got to get equals 0 on one side. So this negative 49 is a problem. It needs to move over. To move this, I got to add 49 to both sides. And now I have x squared plus 14x plus 49 equals 0. So now what do we do? Okay, do I need to do AC here? Actually, I don't, because there is a 1 in the x squared term. You can do AC, it's just more work. Yep, this can, if it factors, it's going to break into two groups right away, equals 0. And then I'm going to have an x and an x. And what else do I know I have right now? Both positives, because all I see is plus signs. And I need two numbers that multiply to give me 49, but add to give me 14. 7 and 7. So we have x plus 7 times x plus 7 equals 0. Now what? Yeah, now you can use the zero product property. We have two things. One thing times one thing equals 0. So split them up. X plus 7 equals 0, or x plus 7 equals 0. So to solve the first one, what do? Subtract 7 from both sides, and we get x equals negative 7. To solve the second one, what do? Subtract 7 from both sides, and we wind up with x equals negative 7. How many solutions do we have? 2. But if we were to look at a parabola on a graph, how many would we see? 1. And what is special about a parabola that only has one solution? It touches the x-axis where? Well, at negative 7 on this problem, but well, yeah, the parabola's vertex touches the x-axis. So that means that the vertex is actually at x equals negative 7, which means the graph, if I go over 7 places to the left, this thing opens up, is going to look basically like that. Okay? So this is a case where you got two solutions, but you really only have one, because they're both the same. There are two answers, but they're both the same answer. So there you go. Incidentally, do we know what this trinomial would be called? We wound up with, basically I could write this as x plus 7 squared. It is a perfect square trinomial. Yeah. Okay, the last problem in the section. You are constructing a frame for the rectangular photo shown. You want the frame to be the same width all the way around, and the total area of the frame and photo to be 315 square inches. What should the outer dimensions of the frame be? So we are looking for the outer dimensions of the frame. That's this and this. They tell us that for some reason we want the total area of the frame and photo to be 315 inches squared. So how do I calculate area? Yeah, base times height. So area equals base times height, or length times width. Well, this is my length, and this is my width. So how long is my length? If the picture is 17 inches, and the width of this frame is x and x. My length equals 17 for sure, right? But we also got to cover this distance here and this distance here. So what is the total length? It's not x squared though, because I'm adding. What if I add x? Like if this was 2 and this was 2, or if better yet, if this was 3 and this was 3, I'd have a total of 23, right? So I'm just adding 17 plus x plus x. So this is actually 2x plus 17. And how about the width? We can do the same idea for the width. W equals what? Two x plus 11. Okay, so now I know that the length is 2x plus 17 and the width is 2x plus 11. And I know that the area is length times width, so I can just multiply those two things together. We have the length, which is 2x plus 17, times the width, which is 2x plus 11. That's the area. But they told me that I want a specific area. What is the area supposed to be? 315. So that's going to equal 315. Now we want to solve for x. So here's a question for you. I have two things that are being multiplied together. Can I split these up right now and say that this is equal to 315 or this is equal to 315? Can I do that? No. Because the property that we're trying to use here is called the what? The zero product property, not the 315 product property. Okay? This has to be a zero over here. So if I move the 315 over, then I do have a zero over there, but now I don't have a product anymore. I don't have two things that are being multiplied together. So I need to actually FOIL this first. Then bring the 315 over so that it equals 0. Then factor what I FOILed, because it's going to be something different, and then I'll have my answer. So let's FOIL this thing out right here. We should be able to do this pretty quick. 4x squared plus 22x plus 34x plus, 17 times 11. 187 equals 315. Okay, what should we do next? Good, combine like terms. We have like terms right here. So now we have 4x squared plus 56x plus 187 equals 315. Now what? Yep, subtract the 315 to get equals 0 on the other side. 4x squared plus 56x. What is 187 minus 315? Negative what? 128? Okay, I can buy that. Equals 0. Now what? Yeah, now we should factor. So I already heard somebody say GCF. What is the GCF here? Is there one? 4? Well, 4 goes into 4, right? Does 4 go into 56? Does 4 go into 60? Yes. And 56 is 4 less than 60, so does 4 go into 56? Yes. Does 4 go into 128? If you're not sure, look at the last two digits, 28. Does 4 go into 28? Yes, it does, which means that 4 goes into 128 as well. So I can actually factor out a 4 here. And if I do that, I have 4 times x squared plus 14 x minus 32 equals 0. Now, I have this GCF out front. Here's the thing. I can divide right now by 4 and get rid of that GCF completely. Because of the fact that I have an equation here equals 0, I can do that. I can divide something on both sides of the equation. I couldn't do that in chapter 8 because there was no equal sign. That GCF had to stay there. So I can divide everything by 4 right now to get rid of that GCF. The 4's here cancel, and I'm left with x squared plus 14x minus 32 equals, what's 0 divided by 4? 0. Now what? Factor. Do I need the box method here? No. Did I need the box method here? Yes. But I don't anymore. So, what do? Yep, breaks into a FOIL problem. X and X. One's positive, one's negative. Good. 8 and 4 add to be 12, and they have to have opposite signs. (16 and 2). Positive 16 and negative 2. 16 times negative 2 is negative 32. 16 plus negative 2 is positive 14. Okay, now what? Yep, zero product property. X plus 16 equals 0, or x minus 2 equals 0. So solve the first one. Good, we're going to subtract 16 from both sides, and x equals negative 16. Add 2 to both sides, x equals positive 2. Now, this is a story problem, so we need to think about our answers here. X equals negative 16. Negative 16 feet, inches. You can't have a negative dimension. So, nope, you can't have a negative dimension. This is your answer. You can't have a negative dimension, so this one doesn't make sense to use. X equals 2 does make sense to use. This one does not. So x equals 2 inches is your answer. It says, what should the outer dimensions of the frame be? 2 inches is your answer. Now notice all the stuff that we had to do there. It kind of takes everything we've done and throws it all together. You have to write an equation. This is something we've been doing from story problems and pictures all year long. But then you got to realize that you need to FOIL that out so that this 315 can come over and combine with that 187. So that way you get the equals 0. Then you have to do a GCF. Now you can actually divide out that GCF, as long as there's no variable involved, just a number. You can divide both sides by that number out front to get rid of it. Then factor, then solve, then think about what your answer is and how it makes sense or not. That's it for the section. On the homework, there is a problem similar to this. It takes a lot of thought, but try it. Your brain will grow, and you'll be better for it. And then on the test, you might actually be able to do the problem. If you skip it, you got no chance.